We are live. It's another great day on Cribble TV. So privileged to be here with Sydney Mayers, the awesome AI PM for Cribl Copilot. So appreciate you being here. Can you introduce yourself? Tell us about yourself.
Yeah, thanks, Ed. Super excited to be here as well. You called it out already. I am the PM for Cribl AI. Cover kind of all AI features within Cribl, a cross product kind of initiative. So you'll see AI features show up in a lot of places, and I'm here to help manage that across our various products.
That's super cool. I really appreciate the features that are being added and the focus. So just first off, just to kind of set that position, what's the role of AI at Cribble? Is it the magic pixie dust, the thirst trap, or is this actually trying to provide our users help to use the products better? What's the positioning in terms of why does AI matter at Cribble?
Yeah, no thirst trap here, Ed. It's really meant to be kind of an augmentation engine, we'll call it. So you're very much in the driver's seat. We want to make sure that AI is there to help, accelerate, reduce the time it takes to get to value, but you're always in control, right? And we really focus on two pillars, we'll say, explainability and steerability. So for us, everything anchors on those two pillars. Can the AI explain what it's doing, how it's doing it, what it's doing? And then can it be steerable? It's not making decisions for you. It's not doing anything automatically. I'm sure people have probably heard plenty of AI snake oil in that way, where they're hearing about AI that does all of these magical things. We're not trying to make magic. We're trying to be practical. We want this AI to be really realistic and on brand. For us, we're all about making sure that you can get from your source to your destination, from wherever you want to go, whether it's analyzing something, bringing in new data. Our AI is really meant to help facilitate that, but it's not going to replace anything. And it's also very, very much meant to be malleable, right? So we want to make sure that it's flexible enough that it can help you get to where you're going. You can make decisions, you can make changes, you can steer it in a different direction. At best, it's going to be in the passenger seat with you, but it's not in the driver's seat. It's not trying to take over by any stretch of the imagination. It's really there to help you along your journey as you're kind of managing your data at various points in the life cycle.
Yeah, I like the word practical. I think that's helpful. I think the vast majority of users who use the Cribble products are admins, practical people looking to solve problems,
Yeah.
and I think that that's a good way to put it. So one thing I also just is Cribble AI making changes in the background, or is it something that's doing with the approval and interaction of our users?
Yeah, we don't make any changes in the background. Everything for us is transparent. So even down to like how I make Cribble AI available in my workspace, right? It's not on by default. We actually ask you to go in, accept terms, turn it on. So we want to make sure that there is kind of validation and approval every step of the way, even to turn it on, right? Like just to get started. And I will say, like sometimes people don't agree with that approach. Sometimes they just want the AI to be on or there or available. The goal there, though, is to make sure that you have that ability to control it. So you turn it on. We're also adding configurability. You'll see that pretty soon, where I can then turn it on just for stream or just for one feature if I want to, or just for search. So you have that kind of approval process and validation process every step of the way. And then when we get into the actual features themselves, I have the opportunity to say, no, I don't like that, or yeah, don't run that, or actually change this. So I don't have this kind of automatic background process that's running without my kind of knowledge or understanding. You're always involved every step of the way. And you give it the signal. So like, yes, I'm ready for you to run, or yes, I'm ready for you to take this next step. It will make recommendations. So it does have the ability to say, hey, I identified this log type. What do you want to do? How do you want to proceed, or what's next for you? So it gives you the ability to kind of decide, and it's still helping, right? It's giving some recommendation. It's giving you a little nudge, but it's not going to say, I found this log type and like, I'm off to the races. It gives you that opportunity to say, no, that's the wrong log type, or yes, that's the right log type. And now I'm ready to do XYZ thing next.
Yeah, I like that. I think that's really important. I just want to make sure people have that, choice and control. If we're about empowering users, we got to make sure that the AI is not overriding what our users want to. Everyone wants a little something that's a little bit different, so we got to support that.
Exactly. Exactly.
So, what's the status of Copilot right now from a feature product positioning, and what do you see in the future?
Yeah, great question. So we're trying to kind of get Copilot everywhere, I think is the way that I would describe it. So when you go to our docs pages and marketing pages, you'll see a little Copilot icon in the bottom corner. That's really an informational Copilot, just to help you get to where you're going, understand what's happening in the docs. Maybe I just want to know how Cribble uses their pricing model, right? Like those are the types of questions I can ask. So it's really meant to be informational, kind of bring the information to you rather than me having to search. When we go into the product itself, we also have a generic Copilot in there, and that's to help you ask questions that are more specific. So if I go into Lake as an example, Cribl Lake has specific questions I might ask simply because of the type of product that it is. So Copilot will actually provide recommended questions based on Cribl Lake, like, what are things that I might want to do with Lake? How do I actually, attach it to a search instance, for example? And then when I go into individual products, you'll see various features. So we kind of break them up as like Copilot for Stream, Copilot for Edge, Copilot for Search, and Copilot for Lake. Some big ones that I would recommend people check out, like if you're not a KQL expert, I myself came from Microsoft before this, big KQL fan, wouldn't consider myself an expert despite working there for a while. We have a Copilot for KQL. So you can put in natural language to say, in this data set, I want to find roughly this kind of information, and it will suggest the KQL query for you. So you have the ability to not be an expert at KQL and still get your queries done. If you go into Stream, we have a new feature launching later this week called Copilot Editor, where you can actually go in and have an interactive approach to building pipeline. So I can provide some sample data, get an explanation of what my next steps are. I can transform schemas. I can do some pretty complicated stuff in there within a few minutes, which is crazy. I mean, Ed, I'm sure you've seen this many times. Like, this can take hours, days, weeks. We're talking minutes, realistically, to get these things done.
Well,
So that's
and
probably our main one. Go for it.
you're kind of underplaying the very best thing. Mapping to schemas is hard. That's really
Yes.
hard. And the demo that you showed me is just incredible. And I think that's just where you just have a quick workflow. You pick your schema, it maps the data, and it asks you multiple times, is this right? Do you validate? And it saves so much time. I mean, I personally had to do this, and it took way too much time to do. And I've talked to users, mapping the ECS schema. You take, for someone who really knows the tools very well, it takes 3 or 4 days. And for someone who doesn't really takes even longer. And so just knocking out all that time, knocking it down to a few minutes, man, that's awesome.
It's huge, right? I mean, even for myself, not an expert on schemas by any stretch of the imagination. I'm an AI person. It's incredible what it can do. It's incredible to be able to create a pipeline that can transform Palo Alto logs into OCSF schema and then send it on its way. It's just amazing what it can do. But it's not constrained to just schemas either. I can use the same workflow to do basic transformations. Maybe I just want to pull IP addresses out of raw, or maybe I just want to drop events that are of a certain status code. So I have that kind of end-to-end experience, we'll say, of building pipelines, which I think is going to be really transformational for users. And it goes back to the same two pillars, explainability and steerability, that is completely evident in the way that you use Copilot Editor. And then we have some other little things sprinkled here, generating Git commit messages, generating summaries of your previous commits, being able to do event breakers with a little bit of help from AI. So we have little pieces here and there that I think not everyone might know. I would highly recommend checking out our docs because we have quite a bit of it explained there. But I think a lot of it really comes down to we want to help people at every aspect of Cribl. We want Copilot to kind of be an across the board offering that you have through each of our products. So as far as what's next, I mean, I think we'll see a lot more Copilot across our platform. We'll continue to see building up of Copilot and docs and Copilot across the platform in more generic senses. But we are going to see more targeted use cases where you can have those interactive workflows like Copilot Editor in other areas. So stay tuned because there's definitely more coming there. And I would say on a monthly basis, if you're someone who keeps up with AI, there's something for you every single month.
Just one thing I wanted to kind of ask about. So I think that what you mentioned about event breakers is especially crucial. Event breakers are something that teams may struggle with. It's a crucial part when you're onboarding data. So is that feature already there, or is that something that's coming?
It's already there. It's one of probably the lesser known features I would say that people have out there, just to get some help with how do I build an event breaker for this type of data. It's a little bit more open ended, so not as we'll say directed as Copilot Editor, which people will see pretty soon. But it does give you the opportunity to kind of describe what you want from an event breaker and then kind of, play with it, iterate on it, and then publish it to be used for the rest of your workspace.
Well, that's great because I mean we're going to do a demo on that really soon. So I'm going to definitely hijack some of Nikhil's time to do a demo there. So that's awesome. One thing
Yeah.
else to mention in terms of helping with searching, at a previous life I owned a platform where I had several thousand users who needed a search, and it was always a struggle trying to make sure they were writing good searches, or because these are people who they're just trying to get the job done. They
Yeah.
didn't want to become an expert in some random language. They just give me the data I need, help me, and to have something that would make finding the data they need more approachable, I think, is priceless. Because I mean, I had to devote a couple of full-time people to what I called search enablement. Because to me, like, what's the point of this platform if people aren't using it to find data? And so just to have this, that's an enormous scalability enhancement.
Totally, totally. And it's a
Yeah.
big democratization play, right? Like we have the opportunity. You don't have to be an expert. You don't have to know what's going on in a really deep sense, right? It also gives you the opportunity to learn. I think that's something that people don't always realize, like with AI integrations. AI gives you the opportunity to learn. I after doing a few times of like getting the same query, eventually I'll get it. Like, okay, in this data set, if I want to find this type of data, here's what I have. And so I think it gives you an opportunity to kind of gather some of that feedback, and then you can get better incrementally. And I can use AI for more complex things, but it also just kind of levels the playing field, right? That I think we all know that one expert person in every work environment who like is the super admin who knows everything. That one expert person has to take on a lot. So being able to kind of spread that across multiple folks, and also, bridging the knowledge barrier. I think sometimes it's hard to learn new things. It's hard to
Yeah.
be able to say like, well, I'm not an expert in KQL, myself included, right? Like being able to give people the opportunity to do that, to play, to try, and kind of learn incrementally, I think is a huge value add.
Yeah, that's really neat. Shoot, I had a so for new features, I've always wondered, is it possible, for example, to Copilot to say, "Hey, we have this new feature. Why don't you try this out for a particular use case?" Because I think that's another thing users struggle with is unless you're reading the release notes, you may not know something's there.
Yeah, great question. We have talked about the nudge, as we call it, where, Copilot can give me a little bit more guidance or maybe just a push to say, hey, I see you're in, search. Have you thought about using our KQL feature or our follow-up query feature? We are exploring adding more nudges in there and kind of giving people a little bit more, let's say, push to see these features because there's so many, right? Like event breakers was an area you may not know about. Our Git commit messages is another area you may not know about. And so we are kind of adding some of those into the platform in the next coming months. We're still figuring out like what's the right way to do that, right? What's the right way to kind of pull the context? So we're not giving you a bunch of suggestions you're not interested in, but giving you kind of suggestions that point you in the right direction and making Copilot maybe a bit more central in being able to do that while still ensuring that we're, steerable, explainable, making sure that we're not, pushing you to do something you don't want to do, but giving you the encouragement if you're interested in using AI features.
Hey, that sounds really cool. I look forward to it.
Yeah, yeah. I'm looking for, we have a lot on the roadmap, and I feel like we'll have more of these videos coming
There we go.
soon.
Yeah, absolutely. So, anything you want to do to wrap up? I mean, this is a great summer. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, a couple of things. One, if you haven't checked out our docs, if you go to the main docs.cribl.io page, you'll see the Copilot page. It kind of gives you a list of all of our major docs out there for Copilot, just to get a sense of, what features do we have, what's out there. Second thing, if you're interested in AI, there is a setting for it. You'll have to go into the global settings for your workspace. There is a setting called AI settings. Please go in there, review our terms of service, talk about it with your teams, make sure your people know about it, legal and everyone else. And if you have questions, please reach out to us. We are happy to talk anytime. We are open to talking anytime. If you're interested in certain features, let us know. You can reach out to us on Cribl Community. You can go through your account team. However you want to approach us, we're happy to chat. And then the last thing I would say is Copilot Editor is coming. If you haven't used any AI features yet, this is the one that's worth making an argument for. So please be on the lookout. 2505 is just around the corner, literally. So please check out Copilot Editor. That's going to be a really interesting one. If you're someone who builds pipelines or gets involved with pipelines, this is the place to kind of build pipelines with this new interactive workflow.
I'm really excited. Hey, thank you. Thank you for spending time with us. I really appreciate it, and I look forward to more.
Yeah, thanks, Ed. Appreciate it.
All right, take care.
You too.